Kang Min-jae had survived in the underworld by reading people like open books. 15 years running operations in Chicago taught him to recognize every shade of deception, hunger, and ambition. The women who entered his establishments wore their desires like expensive perfume, calculated smiles that promised everything while meaning nothing. They touched with intention, laughed with strategy, positioned themselves like chess pieces hoping to capture the king. So when Zara Mitchell walked into his private office at Obsidian Lounge, with a leather portfolio under her arm and her 7-year-old daughter's hand gripped tightly in hers, he noticed immediately that she didn't smile, not even a polite curve of her lips. "Mr. Kang." Her voice carried professional caution wrapped in velvet. "I'm the graphic designer your operations manager hired. If this is inconvenient, I can reschedule." She was already turning away, body angling to shield her daughter from whatever instinct warned her this room held danger. Intelligent woman, he thought. "Stay." The command emerged rougher than he'd intended, colored by surprise. She froze mid-turn, her deep brown skin glowing warm under his office's ambient lighting. Natural coils framed her face in a halo she'd gathered into a practical bun at her nape. Her eyes, dark amber and watchful, met his directly without the calculated flutter of lashes he'd grown accustomed to. No seduction, no agenda, just exhaustion wrapped in wariness and fierce maternal protection. He should have dismissed her, should have let her walk out that door and disappear back into whatever corner of Chicago had produced her. Instead, he found himself craving something he hadn't wanted in years, the gift of her genuine smile. 4 days earlier, Zara Mitchell had balanced her tablet on the kitchen counter, while Amara ate cereal at their small table, legs swinging in that restless 7-year-old rhythm. The freelance design contract had materialized through Professor Diana Chen, her former mentor at the Art Institute, who possessed an uncanny ability to sense when Zara's bank account was approaching critical levels. "It's preliminary branding work for a nightclub renovation," Diana had explained over the phone, her tone carefully neutral in that way that made Zara suspicious. "The owner wants something sophisticated, modern, with subtle Korean cultural elements. Your aesthetic would be perfect for this project." Zara had accepted without hesitation because rent was due in 12 days, Amara needed winter boots, and her pride refused to let her call her mother in Atlanta for money again. "Mama, can I have more juice?" Amara's voice pulled her back to the moment, those bright eyes sparkling with mischief. "What's the magic word, baby girl?" Amara's gap-toothed grin could melt glaciers. "Please, and I love you infinity times infinity." Zara poured the juice, pressed a kiss to her daughter's forehead, and returned to her design concepts, trying to ignore the unease settling in her stomach. Obsidian Lounge wanted elegance without pretension, luxury without arrogance. She'd spent 3 days developing concepts that merged fluid lines suggesting water and silk, with modernized Korean artistic motifs, color palettes shifting from deep obsidian blacks to warm golden accents. Her phone buzzed with Diana's name flashing on the screen. "They want to meet you today if possible. The owner is very particular about his aesthetic vision." Zara glanced at Amara, who was now drawing elaborate princess castles in her coloring book. "I don't have childcare until tomorrow afternoon." "Bring her," Diana said without hesitation. "I've worked with this client on other projects. He's professional, and Zara, listen to me carefully. This could open doors to significant opportunities, real money. Don't let stubborn independence make you refuse." 2 hours later, Zara stood outside Obsidian Lounge in downtown Chicago, Amara's small hand warm in hers. The building was all sleek glass and steel, with lighting that whispered exclusivity and wealth even in broad daylight. The structure practically radiated money. "This place looks like where princesses go dancing," Amara whispered, eyes wide with wonder. "Remember our agreement? You sit quietly, draw in your special notebook, and afterward we get ice cream. With sprinkles? Don't push your luck, baby girl." An operations manager, young and impossibly polished in a tailored suit that probably cost more than Zara's rent, met them at the entrance. Ms. Mitchell, Mr. Kang is expecting you. Please follow me. The interior stole Zara's breath. The space was stunning. All high ceilings, intelligent architectural lighting, and a central bar that looked like liquid mercury frozen mid-pour. Her designs would complement this environment beautifully. But as they climbed stairs toward the private offices, something felt wrong. The manager's posture carried tension. Security cameras tracked their movement with excessive attention. The man positioned outside the office door wore his designer suit like tactical gear, eyes assessing them with professional calculation that made Zara's maternal instincts scream warnings. The door opened, and Zara's first thought was that Kang Min-jae didn't match his surroundings at all. He should have looked out of place behind that massive desk in his modern luxury office. Instead, he commanded the space with quiet intensity that made the expensive furniture irrelevant. He was younger than she'd expected, mid-30s perhaps, with sharp features and eyes so dark they appeared black in certain light. His hair was styled with that careful carelessness wealthy men achieved, and his black shirt had 3 buttons undone, revealing a tanned throat and the edge of a tattoo that disappeared beneath the fabric. He was looking at his phone when they entered, long fingers moving across the screen with absent focus. Mr. Kang. Zara kept her voice professionally neutral. I'm the graphic designer your operations manager hired. If this is inconvenient, I can reschedule. Those impossibly dark eyes lifted, and the intensity in his gaze made her take an involuntary step backward, hand tightening protectively on Amara's shoulder. Stay. His voice was deep, controlled, carrying the barest hint of an accent that made certain consonants sharper. Something in his tone triggered every survival instinct she'd developed as a single mother navigating the world alone. But Diana's words echoed in her mind. Real money. Amara's boots. Rent. This is my daughter Amara, Zara said, voice steadier than she felt. I hope her presence isn't a problem. She'll be quiet. For the first time, Kang Min-jae's expression shifted, something almost like approval flickering across those severe features. It's not a problem at all. He gestured toward a sitting area near floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Chicago skyline. There's space by the window where she can draw. The view might inspire her. Amara, bless her fearless heart, was already pulling out her colored pencils and sketchbook, completely oblivious to the tension crackling through the air like static electricity before a storm. Zara set up her portfolio on the glass conference table, hyper-aware of Kang Min-jae's gaze tracking her every movement. Most clients scrolled through their phones during presentations or answered emails with half their attention. He gave her his complete, undivided focus, and it was deeply unnerving. I've developed 3 conceptual directions for Obsidian Lounge's rebrand, she began, spreading the digital mock-ups and printed samples across the table. The first direction emphasizes fluidity and transformation. You'll notice the lines suggest silk in motion, which connects to your establishment's name and creates a sense of luxury. The second incorporates traditional Korean artistic elements, specifically pajagi patchwork patterns and dancing color principles, but modernized for contemporary appeal. The third takes a minimalist approach, focusing on negative space, shadow play, and architectural geometry. She walked through each concept, explaining her design philosophy, the color psychology behind her choices, the cultural research informing her aesthetic decisions. He listened without interruption, occasionally leaning closer to examine specific details. His cologne, something understated with notes of bergamot and cedar, invading her concentration. You studied at the Art Institute, he said when she finished. It wasn't a question. I have a BFA in graphic design, yes, but most of my commercial technique is self-taught through necessity and practice. How did I know? His finger traced one of the Korean motifs in her second concept. Formal academic training shows here in your compositional structure and color theory application. But your line work, the way you integrate cultural elements, that's instinctive. Self-taught artists have a certain freedom that formal education sometimes constrains. It was the most perceptive analysis anyone had ever offered of her work, and coming from a nightclub owner, it caught her completely off guard. The second direction, he decided after a long moment of consideration. But I want you to expand the scope significantly, not just the main lounge area. I want a complete brand identity, VIP spaces, private rooms, exterior signage, digital presence, promotional materials, everything. Zara's mind immediately began calculating timelines and reasonable compensation. That's substantially more work than the original project scope outlined. I'll pay substantially more than the original budget. He named a figure that made her forget how to breathe for several seconds. Her mouth went dry. That was 3 months of rent, Amara's winter boots and clothes, art supplies, groceries without anxiety. That's extremely generous, she managed, trying to keep her voice professional instead of desperately grateful. It's what quality work is worth, and I don't negotiate downward on value. He pulled a business card from his desk drawer, wrote something on the back with a fountain pen. This is my private number. Send me your contract terms and rate structure tonight. I want to begin immediately. She took the card carefully, as if it might disintegrate in her fingers. I'll need to work remotely most days. I have childcare limitations with Amara. Remote work is acceptable. You'll need to visit the location for measurements, material consultations, and progress reviews, but I don't require you here daily. His gaze shifted past her to where Amara was drawing with intense concentration. What's she creating? Zara turned to look. Amara had drawn an elaborate underwater scene with a mermaid that had distinctly brown skin and natural hair floating around her face like a corona. Underwater kingdoms are her current obsession. Mermaids who look like her. May I see it? Before Zara could respond, Amara bounced over with complete 7-year-old fearlessness and presented her drawing. This is Marina. She's a scientist mermaid who studies sea creatures and protects the ocean. Kang Min-jae studied the drawing with the same serious attention he'd given Zara's professional work. The composition is excellent. You understand color harmony instinctively. You have your mother's artistic eye. Amara beamed with pure joy, and Zara felt something uncomfortable twist behind her ribs. This man, this stranger who radiated danger like heat from a flame, was being genuinely kind to her daughter. Not performative kindness designed to impress Zara, but authentic engagement with a child's imagination. We should go, she said abruptly, suddenly needing distance and air. I'll send those contract terms tonight. Ms. Mitchell. He stood, and she realized he was tall, easily 6'2", with a presence that seemed to expand and fill available space. I have one question before you leave. She waited, wary and uncertain. Are you afraid of me? The directness of it shocked her into honesty. I don't know you well enough for fear, but my instincts are telling me you're not simply a nightclub owner. Something flickered in those dark eyes. Respect, perhaps, or surprise that she'd voice it so directly. Your instincts are excellent and trustworthy, but I want you to understand something clearly. You and your daughter are completely safe here. That's not a courtesy. It's a guarantee. Why would we need a guarantee of safety if you're just a legitimate businessman? A smile transformed his face from intimidating to devastating. You're remarkably direct, Ms. Mitchell. I'm a single mother. I can't afford to be anything else. Then let me be equally direct with you. He moved closer but maintained respectful distance. My business operations involve certain complications, but I keep those complications entirely separate from civilians. You'll work here, create your designs, and nothing in my world will touch you or Amara. That's not a promise. It's an absolute fact. Every rational part of Zara's brain screamed to refuse the job, take Amara's hand and never look back. Instead, she heard herself say, I'll send the contract tonight. As they left, she didn't see the way Kang Min-jae watched them go, his expression thoughtful and unreadable. She didn't see Park Ji-ho, his head of security, step into the office moments later. Boss, there's been movement. Dmitry Volkov's people were spotted 4 blocks from here yesterday. He's making territorial moves again. Handle it discreetly, Min-jae replied, still looking at the doorway where Zara had disappeared. And Ji-ho, I want security on Ms. Mitchell and her daughter whenever they're traveling to or from Obsidian. Discreet surveillance. She doesn't need to know. You're that interested in the designer? Min-jae picked up the small drawing Amara had left behind, the scientist mermaid protecting her ocean. Just make sure they're protected. Zara spent the following 9 days working 18-hour stretches, splitting time between digital design work at home and on-site consultations at Obsidian Lounge. True to his word, Kang Min-jae kept their interactions professionally focused. But there was something in the way he examined her work, genuine appreciation that had nothing to do with attraction and everything to do with respect for her artistic vision. This is extraordinary, Lee Soo-jin, his business consultant and cousin, said during one presentation. The elegant Korean woman studied Zara's brand identity concepts with a critical designer's eye. You've captured something essential about what Min-jae wants to communicate. My cousin has excellent instincts about talent. Speaking of your cousin, Zara ventured carefully, organizing her presentation materials. He mentioned complications in his business operations. Should I be concerned about this professional relationship? Soo-jin's expression shifted, deciding how much truth to reveal. Min-jae operates in gray territories, but he maintains strict boundaries. One of his fundamental rules is that civilians remain protected at all costs. If he's given you his word about safety, you can trust it absolutely. It wasn't exactly reassuring, but it carried the weight of honesty. Zara was working late at Obsidian one evening. Amara was having a sleepover with her best friend Maya, when Min-jae appeared in the main lounge where she was taking final measurements for a wall installation concept. You're here late, he observed, his voice carrying through the empty space. Deadlines don't respect normal business hours, she replied without looking up from her tablet marking dimensions and notes. Have you eaten dinner? That question made her pause and glance up. I'm sorry? It's 9:30. Have you eaten anything since lunch? I had coffee around 6. He made a disapproving sound low in his throat. Coffee isn't nutrition. Come upstairs. Take a break. Mr. Kang, I really should finish these measurements. Min-jae, he corrected. And it's not a request. You can't create quality work if you're malnourished and exhausted. His private office had been transformed when they arrived. A small table held Korean takeout, multiple dishes still steaming in their containers. The setup was too elaborate to be spontaneous. You planned this, she said, accusation softening into something closer to wonder. Jiho mentioned you've been skipping meals the past 4 days. I can't have my designer collapsing from low blood sugar and exhaustion. He gestured toward a chair. Sit down and eat. The food was incredible. Galbi, kimchi, japchae, steamed rice with seasoned vegetables. Zara tried to maintain some dignity and eat slowly, but she was genuinely starving. When did you start creating art? He asked, pouring tea into delicate cups. I was 8 years old. My father left when I was 7. My mother worked double shifts at the hospital. Drawing kept me quiet and out of trouble, gave me somewhere to disappear when reality felt too heavy. Your father? Hasn't been in the picture since then. She met his gaze directly, refusing to show shame. Amara's father either. Apparently I have terrible judgment when it comes to choosing men. Or perhaps you're strong enough not to need them. The compliment, simple and sincere, completely disarmed her. What about you? She asked, redirecting. When did you get into the nightclub business? His smile carried sardonic edges. I inherited my position when I was 28. My uncle trained me in the family operations, then died suddenly. I've been managing everything since then. Family operations, she repeated. You mean organized crime? I mean gray areas, he corrected carefully. We operate entertainment establishments, provide security services, facilitate certain business transactions that exist in legal shadows. And the complications you mentioned? Territorial disputes. Rival organizations who think Chicago has room for expansion. His expression darkened perceptibly. One rival in particular, Dmitry Volkov, has been making increasingly aggressive moves recently. Should I be worried? No. I maintain strict separation between business complications and civilian life. You're safe. You keep saying that, But you also keep creating situations that require me to be here, in your space, surrounded by your world. He set down his teacup with deliberate care. Would you like complete honesty? Always. I could hire any designer in Chicago. Many who charge less than your rates and have more commercial experience. His dark eyes held hers. But when you walked into my office, you didn't smile at me. Every other woman who enters this building smiles. Calculated, purposeful smiles designed to capture my attention or interest. You looked at me like I was a potential threat to your daughter. I found that incredibly refreshing. So you hired me because I didn't flirt with you. I hired you because your work is exceptional. I keep creating excuses for consultations because I'm genuinely curious about the woman who sees through social pretense and says exactly what she thinks without artifice. Zara's heart was doing complicated things behind her ribs. I'm not here for complications, Min-jae. I have a daughter, a career I'm building from scratch, and absolutely no space for drama in my life. I understand, he said, standing and creating physical distance between them. That's precisely why I'll keep this professional. But I wanted you to understand that you fascinate me, not as a conquest or distraction, but as a person. She should have left it there, gathered her things and maintained boundaries. Instead, she heard herself ask, "Do I smile? Ever?" Once, when Amara showed me her scientist mermaid drawing, your entire face transformed. I've been waiting to see it happen again. The admission hung between them, vulnerable and dangerous in its honesty. Zara gathered her belongings quickly, needing escape. I should go. Thank you for dinner. Let Jiho drive you home. It's late and this neighborhood isn't always safe after 10. I can take a ride share. Zara. The way he said her name, like it was something precious, stopped her cold. Let me do this one small thing, please. She agreed, mostly because arguing seemed more intimate than simply accepting. In the car, Park Jiho drove in professional silence until they were halfway to her apartment in Bronzeville. Then he spoke quietly, unexpectedly. He's a better man than this world deserves. You should know that. You're loyal to him. He saved my life when I was 19, brought me to America when I had nothing. I'd die for him without hesitation. Jiho glanced at her in the rearview mirror. But I've never seen him look at anyone the way he looks at you. Whatever this is, it matters to him deeply. That makes it matter to me. I'm not sure that's reassuring. It should be. When something matters to Min-jae, he protects it with everything he has. You and your daughter are already protected, whether you accept his interest or not. Later, lying in bed while Amara slept peacefully in the next room, Zara couldn't stop thinking about the way Min-jae had said her name. The respect in his voice when he'd called her work exceptional. The unexpected gentleness he'd shown Amara. She was in serious trouble, the kind that didn't end well. But when she finally fell asleep, she dreamed of dark eyes and careful words. And for the first time in years, she wasn't afraid of wanting something for herself. The shift happened gradually, then suddenly all at once. Zara spent more time at Obsidian, and Min-jae found reasons to be wherever she was working. Their conversations deepened beyond surface pleasantries. She learned about his childhood in Seoul, his immigration at 16, the crushing weight of inheriting an organization he'd never asked to lead. He learned about her struggles with single motherhood, her determination to build stability for Amara, her secret dream of opening her own design studio someday. You should, he said one afternoon while she was installing sample materials in the VIP section. Open your own studio. Your talent deserves recognition beyond freelance contracts. Studios require capital I don't have and can't access. I could invest in your business. No. She turned to face him fully, material samples still in her hands. I genuinely appreciate the offer, but I need to build this myself. No shortcuts, no wealthy benefactors, just me and my work earning what I achieve. He smiled, a real smile that softened his severe features. You're remarkably stubborn. I'm independent. There's a significant difference. There is, and it's one of the things I admire most about you. The moment stretched between them, charged with something neither was ready to acknowledge. It was Amara who accidentally broke the careful distance they'd been maintaining. Zara had brought her to Obsidian on a Saturday afternoon when her regular babysitter had a family emergency, and Diana was traveling. She'd planned to work quickly while Amara drew in Min-jae's office, which had somehow become her daughter's favorite space. But when she went to check on her, she found Min-jae sitting cross-legged on his expensive office floor, helping Amara build an elaborate palace from building blocks. "The foundation needs to be symmetrical," Min-jae was explaining with genuine patience. "Otherwise the structure won't be stable and balanced. Like this, see?" Amara adjusted blocks carefully, tongue poking out in concentration. "Perfect, you're a natural architect." Zara leaned against the doorframe, watching something in her chest crack open. Min-jae looked completely different like this, relaxed, almost boyish, thoroughly engaged with a 7-year-old's imagination. "Mama!" Amara spotted her. "Mr. Min-jae knows everything about building palaces. Does he now?" Min-jae glanced up, and the expression on his face when he saw her watching, unguarded and genuinely happy, stole her breath. "I had a very thorough building phase as a child," he admitted. "He's so cool," Amara declared with absolute 7-year-old certainty. "Can he come to my birthday party next month?" Zara's heart stopped. "Baby girl, Mr. Min-jae is very busy with his work." "When's your birthday?" Min-jae asked. 3 weeks, I'm turning 8. We're having cake and Mama's making her special lasagna and we're watching ocean movies because of mermaids." "Sounds absolutely perfect. I'd be honored to attend if you'll have me." "Really?" Amara's face lit up like fireworks. "Really?" Min-jae's eyes found Zara's, asking permission. She should say no, should maintain professional boundaries, should protect Amara from getting attached to a man whose world was built on danger. But Amara was radiant with joy, and Min-jae was looking at her with such careful hope, and she was so exhausted from being alone. "One condition," she heard herself say. "No expensive gifts. Just show up as yourself." Something shifted in Min-jae's expression, gratitude mixed with something deeper and more vulnerable. "Deal." The night of Amara's birthday party, Min-jae arrived exactly on time, wearing dark jeans and a simple navy sweater, the most casual she'd ever seen him. He brought one modestly wrapped gift and that genuine smile that transformed his entire face. "Jiho is parked outside," he mentioned quietly while Amara tore into presents with pure childhood enthusiasm. "Just precautionary. There's been increased activity from Volkov's people lately." "Should I be worried?" "I won't let anything touch you, either of you. That's not negotiable." The party was small and intimate. Amara, 3 friends from school, Maya and her mother Lisa, and Marcus Washington, Zara's photographer friend who'd known her since their Art Institute days. Marcus raised an eyebrow at Min-jae's presence but said nothing, though his protective glance at Zara spoke volumes of concern. Min-jae fit in seamlessly despite coming from a completely different world. He played with the children, helped set up the movie without being asked, and washed dishes like it was natural. When Amara fell asleep on the couch after too much cake and excitement, Min-jae carefully carried her to bed with a gentleness that made Zara's throat tight. "You're remarkably good with her," Zara said when he returned to the living room. "She's easy to be good with. She's extraordinary. She needs stability and consistency in her life, not someone involved in criminal enterprises." Min-jae finished, gently meeting her eyes. "I know what I am, Zara. I've never pretended to be anything else." "Then why are we doing this? Whatever this is between us." He moved closer, and she didn't step back. "Because when I look at you, I see possibility. A version of myself that isn't entirely defined by the organization I inherited. You make me want to be better than what I was raised to become. That's not fair to me. I can't be responsible for redeeming you or changing who you are. I'm not asking you to fix me or save me. I'm just saying that when you smile, genuinely smile, it's the best part of my entire day, and I'd like permission to try earning that smile more often." She should have said no, should have maintained distance. Instead, she closed the space between them, rising on her toes and kissed him. It was brief, tentative, absolutely terrifying in its implications. When she pulled back, his eyes were closed, expression almost pained. "Zara, you shouldn't. Don't think," she whispered. "Just for tonight. Don't analyze or plan or worry about consequences. Just be here with me." He kissed her then, properly, his hand cupping her face with devastating gentleness. It was nothing like she'd expected from a man with his reputation. No aggression or dominance, just presence and heat and a tenderness that made her chest physically ache. They broke apart slowly, both breathing hard. "I should leave," he said, voice rough with restraint. "Why?" "Because if I stay longer, I'll want more than I have any right to ask for, and you deserve someone who can offer you a normal, safe life." "What if I don't want normal or safe? What if I just want honest and real?" He pressed his forehead against hers, breathing her in. "Then you should know I'm falling for you completely, irreversibly, and I have absolutely no idea how to protect you from what that means in my world." Before she could respond, his phone buzzed insistently. He checked it, expression darkening immediately. "I have to go. Problem at the South Docks that requires my attention. Be careful out there." "Always am." He kissed her once more, quick and achingly sweet. "Lock the door behind me. Jiho will stay positioned outside until morning." After he left, Zara touched her lips, wondering what she'd just started and where it could possibly lead. She found out 3 days later when Min-jae called at 2 in the morning, voice tight with controlled panic she'd never heard from him before. "Don't go to Obsidian tomorrow. Stay home with Amara. Don't answer the door for anyone except me or Jiho." "What happened?" "Min-jae, you're scaring me." Volkov made his move. "He hit one of my warehouses on the south side. This is escalation, and I need you safe." "Min-jae, I'll explain everything soon. Just promise me you'll stay inside and stay safe." She promised, heart racing with adrenaline and fear. But what neither of them knew was that Dmitry Volkov wasn't particularly interested in warehouses or territory. He was interested in leverage, in finding weaknesses, and he'd just learned about Zara Mitchell and her daughter. The explosion happened at 3:41 in the morning. Zara woke to car alarms shrieking and sirens wailing, stumbled to her window, and saw flames engulfing the convenience store 2 buildings down from her apartment. Not her building exactly, but close. Far too close to be coincidence. Her phone rang immediately, Min-jae's name flashing. "Are you hurt? Is Amara okay?" His voice was razor-sharp with barely controlled fear. "We're fine, just shaken up. What's happening?" "Pack a bag immediately. You and Amara. Clothes for 3 days. Jiho is 4 minutes away. You're coming to my home where I can protect you properly." "I can't just abandon my apartment and—" "Zara." The raw emotion in his voice stopped her protests cold. "Please. Volkov is targeting anyone connected to me. He knows about you now, knows about Amara. I can't protect you adequately from your apartment. Please trust me." She packed in 7 minutes, woke a confused and frightened Amara, and was in Jiho's car before her hands stopped shaking. Min-jae's home was a penthouse in the Gold Coast. Sleek and modern and beautiful, with security that felt like a fortress. He met them at the private elevator, visibly relieved. "I'm so sorry," he said immediately, crouching to Amara's level first. "I never should have let you get close to me. This is entirely my fault." "What exactly is this?" Zara asked once Amara was settled in the guest room with Jiho standing guard. Min-jae led her to the living room, poured tea she didn't drink, tension radiating from his body. "Dmitry Volkov runs a Russian syndicate. He's been trying to take over Chicago's underground operations for 3 years. I've blocked every territorial move he's made. Now he's hitting my businesses, my people, trying to force me into submission. The explosion tonight, it was a message." "What kind of message?" "That he knows about you and Amara, that he'll hurt what I care about if I don't back down and cede territory." Zara felt ice flood her veins. "This is what your world actually looks like. This is what I'd be bringing my daughter into." "No." Min-jae's intensity burned through her fear. This is what I'll end permanently. I've been managing Volkov with diplomacy, trying to avoid outright war. That ends now. I'm going to eliminate the threat completely, push him out of Chicago entirely. You mean? I mean I'll force him to retreat, destroy his operations here, whatever it takes to neutralize him. He reached for her hand, stopped himself. I need you to trust me. Stay here where security is absolute. Let me handle this. And if you can't win, then I disappear with you. Take you and Amara somewhere Volkov can't possibly reach. New identities, new life, whatever keeps you both safe. You'd give up your entire organization for us? Yes, absolutely, without hesitation. The declaration should have been romantic. Instead, it terrified her with its implications. I can't ask you to sacrifice everything you've built. You're not asking. I'm offering because you and Amara matter more than territory or power or legacy. Amara emerged from the guest room where Jiho had settled her, rubbing sleepy eyes and looking small. Mama, why are we here? I'm scared. Zara pulled her close, breathing in her daughter's familiar scent. Just a special sleepover, baby girl. Everything's going to be fine. But everything wasn't fine, and lying to her daughter made her feel sick. Over the next 8 days, Min-jae waged silent war against Dmitry Volkov. Zara only saw fragments of it. Tense phone calls in Korean conducted behind closed doors. Jiho reporting in code she didn't understand. Lee Soo-jin arriving with legal documents and grim expressions. She and Amara stayed in the penthouse, protected by rotating security details. Marcus called twice, sounding worried. Lisa called 6 times. Diana called once, saying carefully, "Whatever situation you're caught up in, I'm here if you need help or just someone to talk to." David Chen, Min-jae's attorney, visited to explain precautions that sounded like preparing for death. "Mr. Kang wants you to have documentation. If anything happens to him, you and your daughter have financial protection. Trust fund, property holdings, comprehensive safety measures. He's planning for if he dies," Zara realized, feeling nauseous. Chen's expression was sympathetic but honest. He's planning for every possible contingency. That's how he survived this long in his world. Before we continue, I need to ask something important from you. If you're enjoying this story and want to see more content like this, please subscribe to our channel. We're working hard to reach 1000 subscribers so we can keep bringing you these compelling stories. And here's something I'm genuinely curious about. If you were in Zara's position, knowing the danger but feeling that connection, would you stay or would you walk away? Drop your honest answer in the comments. I read every single one, and your perspectives always fascinate me. The night everything shifted, Min-jae came home at midnight, exhausted and visibly defeated in a way she'd never seen. Volkov won't back down, he admitted, collapsing on the couch like his strings had been cut. Every strategic move I make, he counters effectively. He's got more resources than I initially assessed, more political connections, more international backing. Zara sat beside him, took his hand without hesitation. Tell me the truth. What are our actual options here? Fight until one of us completely destroys the other or run and disappear. Those are the only paths I can see. You'd really leave this city, your organization, everything you've built over the past decade? He turned to face her, and the vulnerability in his eyes undid her completely. I've built an empire of shadows and moral compromises. You're the first genuinely real thing I've had in years. Yes, I'd abandon all of it for you, for Amara, for the chance at something honest. She kissed him then, desperate and fierce, pouring everything she couldn't articulate into the contact. He responded with equal intensity, hands tangling in her hair, pulling her impossibly closer. They broke apart, breathing hard, foreheads pressed together. I love you, he said simply, no pretense or calculation. I know it's fast, I know it's complicated and dangerous, but I love you, and I need you to know that before. Before what? His phone rang, shattering the moment. Jiho's name flashed on the screen. Boss, we have a situation. Volkov's here. Building lobby. He wants to talk. Says he's coming up. Min-jae's expression went cold and deadly. How many men with him? 4 visible, probably more in vehicles outside. What do you want me to do? Let him up to the penthouse, but call in our entire team. Surround the building perimeter. Full tactical positioning. Min-jae? Zara started, fear flooding through her. Go to the safe room with Amara right now. Ji-ho will take you both. Don't come out until I personally tell you it's clear. I'm not leaving you alone with… Zara, please. He cupped her face with both hands. Let me protect you. That's all I've wanted since the moment you walked into my office with your daughter's hand in yours. Let me do this. She wanted to argue, to refuse to hide. Instead, she whispered, Don't die. That's not romantic or noble. It's just stupid and wasteful. He smiled, that rare, genuine smile. Yes, ma'am, I'll do my best. Ji-ho hustled her and a frightened Amara into a reinforced room deep in the penthouse, equipped with monitors showing multiple camera angles. Through a screen, she watched Dmitry Volkov step off the elevator, older than she'd expected, coldly handsome, radiating calculated menace like expensive cologne. Kang Min-jae. Volkov's English was flawless, barely accented. We need to discuss reasonable terms. There are no terms. Leave Chicago or I'll systematically destroy everything you've built here. Bold words from a man who's lost 4 shipments this week and 3 key properties. Volkov smiled without warmth. Let's be realistic. You're powerful here, respected. But I have resources and international connections you simply can't match. This war will bleed us both dry over years. Or, Min-jae's voice was cold, you could make a smarter choice for everyone involved. And what choice would that be? Partnership. We divide Chicago cleanly. You keep entertainment operations and the north side. I take imports and south side territory. Everyone profits, no more bloodshed. Not interested in sharing what's mine. Even if the alternative is losing everything? Volkov glanced around meaningfully. Including your designer and her daughter? Min-jae went very still, danger radiating from him. If you touch them, there won't be negotiation. There will only be your complete destruction. I won't need to touch them directly. You'll push me until I'm forced to respond defensively. Then their blood is on your hands, not mine. Volkov moved closer. But if you accept partnership, they live safely. You live. Business continues smoothly. Simple choice, really. Through the monitor, Zara saw Min-jae's expression, the terrible calculation of a man weighing his pride against lives he loved. I need time to consider this. You have 24 hours. After that, I stop being diplomatic. Volkov left and Zara watched Min-jae stand alone in his living room, shoulders bowed under impossible weight. She couldn't let him sacrifice everything for her, but she had no idea how to stop what was coming. The next morning, Zara made a decision that would either save them all or destroy everything. I need to talk to Dmitry Volkov. Absolutely not, Min-jae said immediately. Hear me out completely. No, you're not going anywhere near that man. Min-jae. She made him look at her. He's using me as leverage because he thinks I'm your weakness. What if I'm not your weakness? What if I'm actually your solution? What are you talking about? Volkov wants legitimacy and respectability. He's trying to expand operations beyond underground crime, right? What does he need for that expansion? Soo-jin, who'd arrived earlier, caught on immediately. Public image, legitimate business fronts, cultural integration into Chicago society. Exactly. Zara's mind raced. I'm a struggling black designer with a daughter. Perfect sympathetic story for media. What if I'm the legitimate business front he needs? Design studio, cultural gallery. Something clean that hides what he really wants while giving him social credibility. You'd be his hostage, Min-jae said flatly. Or I'd be his business partner with ironclad contractual conditions. Fixed term, exit clauses, maintained creative control. She looked at Soo-jin. Could we write a contract that protects me? Theoretically, yes, Soo-jin said slowly. But why would Volkov agree to these terms? Because I bring him something genuinely valuable. Plausible deniability and social credibility in Chicago's art community. And because the alternative is prolonged war with Min-jae, which will cost him enormously even if he eventually wins. He absolutely can win this war. Min-jae interjected. No, he can't, not really. You're too smart, too connected here, too respected. He'll lose eventually, but the cost will be devastating for everyone. This way, everyone wins something. Min-jae was shaking his head. I won't let you put yourself in danger like this. It's not your choice to make, it's mine. She softened her voice. You said you'd do anything to protect me. Let me protect you too. Let me protect what we're building together. 6 hours later, Zara sat across from Dmitry Volkov in neutral territory, David Chen's law office, with Ji-ho and 3 of Volkov's security standing guard. Ms. Mitchell? Volkov studied her with calculating interest. You requested this meeting personally. I have a business proposition. You want expansion in Chicago without constant conflict with Kang. I need funding for a legitimate design business. We can help each other. She laid out the plan systematically. A design studio and cultural gallery with Volkov as silent investor. Fixed 3-year partnership with clear boundaries and exit clauses. She'd provide legitimate public front. He'd provide capital and business connections. Interesting, Volkov leaned back. But why would I trust you? You're obviously involved with Kang. I'm involved with my daughter's future and safety. Right now, your conflict with Min-jae endangers that future. This solves that problem cleanly. She met his gaze steadily. You get what you want. Legitimate presence in Chicago's cultural community, social credibility, clean business operations. I get what I want. Security for Amara and the career I'm building. Min-jae gets what he wants. Me and Amara safe, his territory protected. Everyone wins. And if I simply take what I want by force? You'd win eventually, maybe. But the cost would be enormous, and you'd still need legitimate fronts afterward. This is smarter, cleaner, more profitable for everyone. Volkov was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled, and Zara saw the intelligence that had built his empire. You're quite remarkable, Ms. Mitchell. I see why Kang is fascinated. Very well, 3-year partnership with exit clauses favoring you after year 2. I provide capital and connections. You provide the business and public face. Kang stays in his territory. I stay in mine. Clean boundaries. One more condition, Zara added. My daughter and I remain completely separate from anything illegal. If your activities ever touch us directly, the partnership ends immediately with no penalties to me. Agreed. David, draw up the contracts. When Zara returned to Min-jae's penthouse, he pulled her into his arms so tightly she could barely breathe. Never do that again, he said into her hair. It worked. Volkov agreed. 3-year partnership, clean terms, respected boundaries. Everyone gets what they need. He pulled back to search her face. You traded yourself for peace. I traded nothing. I got exactly what I wanted. A studio, funding, security for Amara, and I ended a war that would have destroyed you. This is me choosing you, choosing us. That's not sacrifice. That's partnership. I love you, she interrupted. I've been too scared to say it, but I do. I love that you're gentle with my daughter, that you respect my work and independence, that you'd give up everything for us. I love that you make me feel safe and challenged and seen. So yes, I negotiated with a crime lord to protect the man I love, and I'd do it again. He kissed her then, deep and desperate and full of promise. 16 months later, the Mitchell Design Studio opened on a perfect Chicago morning. Zara stood in the center of her dream, watching visitors admire the work of emerging artists she'd carefully curated. Min-jae was studying the wall where she'd hung the first illustration she'd created for Obsidian, the one that started everything. Remember when you brought Amara to my office? You mean when I was terrified you were a dangerous criminal? I was a dangerous criminal. I'm reformed now, running legitimate businesses and investing in design studios. Very reformed. She moved into his arms. Amara wants to know if you're coming to dinner. Apparently you promised to help with her science project. Wouldn't miss it. He kissed her temple. How's our other project? Zara pressed his hand to her still flat stomach. 10 weeks, strong heartbeat. Still early, but looking good. His expression transformed with joy and wonder. A baby. We're really having a baby. We are. This story teaches us something essential about love and strength. True love isn't about finding someone perfect or uncomplicated. It's about seeing someone's complete truth, their darkness and light, and choosing them anyway. Zara didn't fall for Min-jae despite his dangerous past. She fell for the man beneath the armor, the one who was gentle with her daughter and respected her fierce independence. Min-jae didn't want Zara because she flattered or pursued him. He loved her because she challenged him to become better while accepting who he was. More importantly, this story shows that real strength comes in many forms. Zara's courage wasn't in being rescued or in changing Min-jae. It was in building her own solutions, protecting what mattered, and refusing to compromise her values even when afraid. True partnership means supporting each other's growth while maintaining your own identity and strength. Finally, we learn that redemption is always possible for those willing to make genuine change. Min-jae didn't just promise to be better. He transformed his life, stepped away from crime, and built something legitimate. Sometimes loving someone means becoming worthy of their love, not through grand gestures, but through consistent daily choices to be the person they believe you can be. Thank you so much for being here with me through this journey. If this story touched your heart or made you think differently about love, strength, and redemption, I'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe to our channel. We're building a community of people who believe in the power of storytelling, and we'd love to have you as part of it. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a story. And I'm genuinely curious, what resonated most with you in this story? Was it Zara's courage, Min-jae's transformation, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, and your perspectives make this community so special. If you know someone who needs to hear this story today, share it with them. Sometimes the right story at the right moment can change everything. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for being part of this journey. I'll see you in the next story.